What do you feel is your biggest accomplishment since becoming principal?
Wow. I don't really feel like there's any big accomplishment just in terms of what I've done on my own. I think if anything, what I am most proud of is the amount of students and parents and teachers who are a lot more now involved in the decision making and influencing Tahquitz High School. I'm very proud to see the community and the way the community has rallied behind the school this year.
All right. How is Tahquitz different from other schools you have been at?
I think Tahquitz is a family, and I think you can look at some of the events, both good and challenging, that we've gone through this year, and see the way that people and kids and our parents and teachers alike rally behind. And we've had a challenging year, but a year that's presented us with a lot of growth, and I think we're better for it.
What is your opinion on integrating education and technology?
Without question, we have the most state-of-the-art facility, I believe, in the entire state. I'm a big advocate of technology simply because it's student-centered. It's one thing for somebody to say, well, I have a PowerPoint, or I'm giving this in the class, or I let the kids go to the computer lab and work on Microsoft Word. We are way beyond that. Kids are engaged in social media, kids are engaged in polling in class, using technologies and going after and learning in the way that they best know how. When you can set assignments up where a kid goes home and you say, hey, explore this topic, and you're not up in front of the room telling them how they should do it, what they should do and whatnot, but the kid generates the need to know and goes after their education, I think that's huge.
Why do you think education is important?
As a father of 3 daughters and a son, education is something that nobody can ever take away from you. You can, tons of ways to make money, tons of ways to go about your way in the world, but education and having the depth and perspective, I think shapes who we are. It shapes our culture, and not so much of where we've been, but really begins to plant the seeds for what could be. And the only way we can do that, and I think become a better society, I think, is to educate folks on what's possible, and then rely on young people like yourself to innovate and get on the bleeding edge and make it happen.
What do you do in your free time?
Now more than ever, I enjoy just being a dad. Being a high school principal, and just there really is no such thing as free time, and I'm thankful for that. I have to have probably one of the most blessed jobs you could ever have in the world. I get to hang out with kids all day, be responsible for influencing the people that are out there with them, hang out with an incredible staff here at Tahquitz. My free time is spent doing something connected with Tahquitz, but especially on the weekends, it's nice because then I can have my daughters and wife and whatnot involved with a lot of the school activities and whatnot that we're involved with. So it keeps it just one big happy family moving forward.
Do you feel a sense of purpose being principal?
Absolutely. I think probably the biggest aha for me is just learning that I know enough to know that I know very little. And with this job, I think with any kind of a leadership position, everything that you do and what you try and accomplish, you must do it through others. And this is the ultimate position to be in, to be able to build those relationships and capacity with folks to make sure that we're all on the same page and we're all moving in the right direction. And that's kind of a neat position to be in, because I spend my days and nights building, maintaining, and creating new relationships with folks and getting everybody on the same page. It's very rewarding.
When you were younger, did you have a dream job? Was this your dream job?
Well, when I went to school, I spent most of my time in the principal's office. I had more of a fun .0 than I did a GPA that I'd be willing to admit. My dream job, I think, being young, was really to race Supercross and race motocross for a living. I had the typical dreams of wanting to be a a baseball guy growing up, but I really gravitated towards motocross and volleyball. But I think more importantly than anything, I really anticipated one day being a dad. I thought that would just be the most neatest thing in the world, and it has proven to be just that and even more. So.
If you had one word to describe yourself, what would it be?
That's a great question. That's a really good question. One word I would say, humbled. I think with the birth of my son here recently, the events that have kind of unfolded here this past year, and learning this position and learning the dynamics of Tockwitz High School, it's very humbling in one respect, because one, I'm very blessed to be, if you will, the one leading the ship, and two, because the learning curve is awesome. I love learning, and it's constant. It's humbling.
What is your favorite quote?
My favorite quote is by Benjamin Disraeli, and the quote is, "Man crucifies himself daily between two thieves, the regret of yesterday and the fear of what tomorrow might bring." I've always loved that quote. Always loved that quote.
And this comes from Miss Simpson's freshman health class.
That makes me nervous already.
Why did you name your son Mowgli?
My wife and I, we've never had to name a boy, and we wanted to name our son something unique. And I came across a poem growing up called "If" by Rudyard Kipling, and it's a poem from a father to a son. And as we started throwing out names, Rudyard Kipling also was the author of The Jungle Book, and the little boy in the movie obviously was named Mowgli. Mowgli was raised by a bunch of animals. Well, our house is filled with German shepherds, and we just kind of thought, you know what, that's kind of a unique name, and playful but sturdy, but one that I hope he's about 6'5", or else he might take some heat for that name, but I'm confident he'll be okay. So.
Do you have a personal mission statement?
I do. That mission statement is, I am a trusting and vulnerable and honest man building awesome, loving relationships now. I've had that personal mission statement now for about 10 years.
All right. It was very nice talking to you, Dr. Rowe.
Thank you very much.